Let's go ahead and display string values in Android reactive way. But first, we need to know how to work with the butter knife library. Open your web browser and search for butter knife, and this time click on the first link, and then here it's going to show you how to work with this library. You can see that it's going to use this code @BindView. Inside the parentheses we refer to the ID of our UI component, and then we just give this variable a name. So let's go back to Android Studio. Let's go to Java folder, main activity. So here we have a problem. If you click on the imports, you can see these imports and we cannot see this library anymore. I'm gonna delete this import statement, and now the problem is solved. So now let's go ahead and declare our text view inside our class. I'm gonna say @BindView. Let me go back to web browser and make sure that I am using the same syntax. BindView starts with capital B. So I'm gonna type in here @BindView. Inside the parentheses, we need to refer to the ID of our UI component, r.id.txt_hi. And next, we need to type in here text view, and the name is going to be txt_hi. That's it. That's the only piece of code that we need to write in order to refer to our UI component. So we don't have to write find view by ID codes anymore. The boilerplate code is gone. Another thing that we should do in order to use this library is that inside the onCreate method, we need to add this line of code, butterknife.bindThis. So let's copy this code, go back to Android Studio. Inside the onCreate method, let's paste it. Okay, now we can use this txt_hi without using the find view by ID boilerplate code. Now we are ready to write RX Java code. Inside this onCreate method, observable, so I'm going to type in here observable and notice what is going to happen. Okay, you can see that we have different observables. We have observable from the java.util package. We have the observable from the Android database. And take a look at this one, observable from the io.reactiveX. This is the one that we need to use. Make sure that you do not select the other ones. It's very important. We need the observable io.reactiveX. Okay, and if you scroll to the top, you can see that the observable is imported to our file. Now we need to type in here .just. We use this method in order to specify a data source. You will learn all about observable in the next section of the course, but here we just want to create the first RX Java app. So inside the parentheses of this just method, I'm going to put 2 double quotes. Inside the quotes, I'm going to say, how are you? Notice that this is just the data source. Observable is where we get our actual data. And in order to use this data, we need to say .subscribe. Inside the parentheses of this subscribe, let's say new consumer. So let's see what is happened here. We said new consumer, and here you can see that these codes are already put here for us. So let's hold down the control key or the command key if you are using Mac and click on this consumer. This consumer is just an interface, and it says a functional interface or callback that accepts a single value. So it's a callback. This means that it is going to consume the given value. So what is the given value? The given value is here, how are you, that we specified inside the parentheses of this just method. So the job of this consumer is just to consume this given data, how are you, and this accept method here is put here so we can use that data. So now that we are implementing this accept method, notice that this method has a parameter of type string and it throws an exception. This means that it can go wrong, okay? Inside this accept method, let's go ahead and refer to our txt hi, our text view, and let's set the text of our text view to be the s that we get as a parameter from this accept method. Let's put a semicolon at the end of this parenthesis here. Let's go and run our application. So when I tried to run the application, now it is showing me an error. It says invoke customs are only supported starting with Android O minimum API 26. This means that we need to open our project navigator, double click on the build.gradle module app, and let's change the minimum SDK version instead of 19 to be 26. This is very important. And let's sync the project now, and let's go and run our application after the sync process is finished. So here you can see that our app is running and it says, how are you? We are showing this text on our text view reactive way. We are using this observable, which is going to be the data source. We are going to call the just method in order to add an item to this data source observable. And then we are going to call the subscribe method in order to listen or get the data that is going to be emitted from this observable. And then we are passing the consumer so that we can consume the given data, and inside the accept method we can access that data. Now let's go ahead and populate our recycler view with some data reactive way. So let's open the Android project navigator, and then let's go into our res folder layout. Right click on this layout folder, new, and then click on layout resource file. So the file name here should be rv underline item. So we want to create a custom item for our recycler view. And then the root element is linear layout. We are going to change this one later. Or if you want, you can change it here. Let's say Android X dot card view dot widget dot card view. So Android X dot card view. So here this v should be lowercase. Card view dot widget dot card view. Let's click on OK. Let's switch to the text tab, and here it is, our card view. So you can see this code, this tag, and here let me show you some attributes. We have the layout width and the layout height. Let's set a margin for this card view. So I'm going to say margin or layout margin to be 7 dp. Okay. Inside this card view, we are going to have a text view that is going to represent a string value. So text view, and then we need to specify the ID, @ plus ID, txt name. Next, let's set the layout width to be wrap content, and then let's set the layout height to be wrap content. let's set the margin to be 10 dp, and let's set the text color to be blue. Okay, so this is going to be our item. So now that we have this item, we need to have a custom adapter for our recycler view. Let's open the project navigator. Just right click on this package that contains our main activity class, new, and then click on Java class. So the name of our class is going to be custom, or let's say RecyclerView custom adapter. And here let's specify the superclass to be the RecyclerView adapter. So just type in here RecyclerView dot adapter, and then put a pair of angle brackets, and let's say my adapter. So the my adapter class is not created yet. It is going to be a class within the adapter class, or the RV custom adapter class. Don't worry about these red texts yet. So my adapter dot view holder, or let's say my view holder, and then close the angle bracket, and then let's click on OK. So here it says superclass is not a Java qualified name, so we can't do it here. Let's do it in code. Let's just click on OK, and inside this class we can write our code. So let's specify the superclass, and let's say that this RV custom adapter is going to extend the RecyclerView dot adapter. Let me double click on this tab in order to make this area wider. Dot adapter, and inside the angle brackets just type in here RV custom adapter dot my view holder. So this my view holder is going to be an inner class that we are going to create inside this RV custom adapter class. So let's go ahead and do that first. And the name is going to be my view holder. So the same name that we specified inside the angle brackets. And then this class is going to extend or inherit from the RecyclerView.viewHolder class. So let's say RecyclerView.viewHolder. Okay, now let's go inside this class, and here we need to go ahead and declare the text view that we created inside this rv_item.xml file, this text view, because we want to put this item inside our recycler view, right? So notice that the ID is txt name. I am going to use the butter knife library, so I'm gonna say @bind view, and let's refer to this ID r.id.txt name, and then we need to say text view, and the name is going to be txt name, semicolon. Now that we have created our text view inside our myViewHolder class, this inner class must have a constructor. So if I hover over this error area, it says there is no default constructor available inside the Android x.recyclerview.widget.recyclerview viewholder. So inside this inner class, I can just right click here, generate, and then click on constructor. So a constructor is created here. Okay, now after calling this super item view, notice that this constructor has a parameter of type view. I am going to refer to the butter knife.bind, because if you don't put this line of code inside this constructor, you won't be able to access this text view. So I'm gonna pass this, and here we need to pass another argument that is going to be the view that we get from this myViewHolder item view, semicolon. This is all we need to do inside our inner class. Now we need to go ahead and implement some methods that we get from this RecyclerView.adapter. So I'm gonna just hover over this error area, it says the RV custom adapter class must either be declared abstract or implement abstract method get item count and some other abstract methods that we get from the RecyclerView adapter. So inside this class, I'm gonna right click inside an empty area and click on generate. Let's click on implement methods. So these are the methods that we need to implement inside our RV custom adapter class. The onCreate view holder, the onBind view holder, and the get item count. Select them and click on OK. Okay. Now we need to go ahead and implement these methods. So here we have some methods that are implemented. And first, let me tell you a little bit about the benefits of using the RecyclerView and what we get by using this class. RecyclerView is used to have a list inside our application. And in this way, we can get our items or data from a data source. It doesn't matter whether it is from the web or it is a local database. Then we can get that data and populate our list view by getting that data. Recycler is used here to actually make our job easy as a programmer, and it's very helpful. So I have opened my web browser and I searched for the benefits of RecyclerView. So you may already know that we have also something called list view, and you may be wondering what we should use, RecyclerView or list view. So here let me show you some of the advantages of RecyclerView over the list view. So RecyclerView has view holder pattern, and it says that it makes things a bit more complex in RecyclerView, but a lot of problems that we faced in the list view are solved efficiently. So this means that if the RecyclerView has the view holder pattern, it may be complex, but we don't have the problems that we faced when we were using the list view. RecyclerView uses the layout manager. This is another massive enhancement brought to the RecyclerView. In a list view, the only type of view available is the vertical list view. There is no official way to even implement a horizontal list view. So this is another advantage of using RecyclerView. We also have item animator. List views are lacking in support of good animations, but you can see that the RecyclerView brings a whole new dimension to it. Using the RecyclerView.itemAnimator class, animating the views becomes so much easy and intuitive. We also have item decoration. In case of list views, dynamically decorating items like adding borders or dividers was never easy. But in case of RecyclerView, the RecyclerView.itemDecorator class gives huge control to the developers, but makes things a bit more time consuming and complex. We also have on-item touch listener. Intercepting item clicks on a list view was simple, thanks to its adapter view.onItem click listener. So you should be already familiar with the on-item click listener of list view. But the RecyclerView gives much more power and control to its developers by the RecyclerView.onItem touch listener, but it complicates things a bit for the developer. We also have some disadvantages, and they are not as much to consider because the advantages that we get from the RecyclerView outweighs its disadvantages. So now let's go back to Android Studio. Now that we know that RecyclerView is a powerful component in Android, let's go ahead and use it. So here you can see that we have the onCreate view holder. So this method is part of the RecyclerView class, this adapter, and we use it in order to inflate our custom row, this one, the rvitem.xml file that we created earlier. we use it to inflate this row on our recycler view. So notice that the return type of this method is myViewHolder. So we need to return an object of type myViewHolder. So the myViewHolder is this class that we created inside our RV custom adapter class. This is our inner class. Now, let's delete this return null here, and let's go ahead and implement this method. First of all, we need to have a reference to a view class. So let's create a variable of type view, and let's name it as view assignment operator. And then let's say layout inflator dot from. So now we need to pass the context of the parent. So as you may know, we are actually using the recycler view on our main activity class. So the parent is going to be the main activity class that we get as a parameter from this onCreate view holder. So first, I am going to refer to this parent dot get context, and then I am going to call a method on this from method dot inflate. So now I need to pass some arguments to this inflate method. First, we need to pass the custom row, the XML file. So I'm going to say r dot layout dot. So now I am going to refer to the RV item, comma, and then I need to pass the parent. So the parent that we get from this onCreate view holder, and then I need to pass another argument for the attached to root. So we don't need to pass the value true here because our recycler view is already attached to the root or to the parent. So I pass the value false, semicolon. So this is the piece of code that we need in order to inflate our custom row to our recycler view. So here, let me show you a little bit about the recycler view itself, how it is created, how it is used. And here I have opened the Android documentation in order to show you a little bit about the recycler view. So if your app needs to display a scrolling list of elements based on large data sets or data that frequently changes, you should use RecyclerView as described on this page. And here, notice that it says that the RecyclerView widget is a more advanced, flexible version of list view. So here it is the view of a RecyclerView. You can see that we have a list of items, we have the title, the subtitle, the description, another image here, some other data here. So, and here you can see on the right, we have a list also using the CardView. So we are going to also use CardView inside our application, and we are going to put CardView inside our RecyclerView. And here you can see that how we can create some beautiful layouts using these two amazing components of Android, RecyclerView and CardView. So then let me search for RecyclerView. And now here you can see that we have AndroidX.RecyclerView.widget. I'm going to click on it. So next you can see that we have some interfaces here. We have this item touch helper, item touch UI util, and some descriptions. For example, let's take a look at this one, the RecyclerView.child drawing order callback, a callback interface that can be used to alter the drawing order of RecyclerView children. So you can see how advanced RecyclerView is. And here let me show you the classes. For example, we have the default animator class and some descriptions. If you are interested in RecyclerView and its classes, take a look at the Android documentation in order to learn more how it is implemented. But first, let me tell you that when you implement the RecyclerView adapter as we did here, RecyclerView.adapter, we must implement some abstract methods. So the onCreateViewHolder is one of them. Now that we have a reference to the myView, now we need to go ahead and create a variable of type myViewHolder, because this method needs to return a value of type myViewHolder. I'm gonna say myViewHolder. So let's name it as myViewHolder assignment operator new myViewHolder. So this constructor needs an argument of type view. As you can see here, we have this class, and take a look at the constructor that we have created inside this class. And this constructor has a parameter of type view, and its name is item view. So we need to pass an item view to this view holder. So what is going to be the item view? The item view is my view variable that we created in this line of code, in line number 21. Okay, semicolon. Now let's return the my view holder. So I'm gonna say return my view holder, semicolon. Done. So this is our method. And next we need to go ahead and implement the onBind view holder method here that has two parameters, the holder and the position. So here we need to access the values, the string values that we want to show inside our recycler view. Here inside this onBind view holder method, first you can see that we have access to the holder of type myViewHolder, and this means that we have access to an instance of type inner class. So we can access the txt name in order to set a value to it. So here I can say holder. If you want to, you can change the name of the parameter, but I'm gonna say holder dot txt name dot set text, and then I need to refer to our list view that we created above. So here we should have already created a list view, but we haven't yet. So now we need to specify the text of our item of this txt name, and we need to get that value from a list of data. So here I'm gonna scroll to the top. Inside our class, I'm gonna create a variable private final, so it is going to be a constant, and the data type is going to be list. So as you may already know, a list is just an interface, and we cannot create an object directly from an interface. So in order to initialize our list, we are going to use array list. So here now you may ask that why are we creating list? Why we don't create just an array list? What are the advantages of using the list? So let me show you the advantages of list over array list. So here I have searched for the advantages, and here it is the link that I'm gonna look for: type list versus type array list in Java. And here let me scroll down. It says almost always the first one is preferred over the second one. So by first one it refers to the list, and it says that the first, or the list, has the advantage that the implementation of the list can change to a linked list, for example, without affecting the rest of the code. This will be a difficult task to do with an array list, not only because you will need to change array list to linked list everywhere, but also because you may have used array list specific methods. You can read about list implementation here. So you can see that by using list, we can really, for example, change our array list to any other types. But if you use array list, then you may have problem to converting the type. Now let's go to Android documentation, and this time I'm gonna search for list. Let's see what is list. And here we should take a look at these. So you can see that we have, for example, array list, list iterator, linked list, name list, node list, and all of these. So let's take a look at the java.util.list. And here, this is an interface that implements the collection. And here it says that an ordered collection, also known as sequence, the user of this interface has precise control over where in the list each element is inserted. The user can access elements by their integer index position in the list and search for elements in the list. So the reason that I'm showing you the documentation or the Stack Overflow posts is that in your programming journey or in your programming career, you are going to wind up with lots of problems that you can only find the answer of from these documentations and Stack Overflow posts. So it's very important that you get comfortable with documentation and reading something about what you are using, and especially the Stack Overflow posts that will show you what you can do to solve a specific problem. So now we can see that we have lots of methods for this list. We have the add method that we are going to use, and it says appends the specified element to the end of this list. So let's go back to Android Studio. So now that we have created this list, inside the angle brackets, I'm going to specify the data type of the values that I'm going to put inside my list. And the name of my list is just going to be string values. Okay? Semicolon. Or let's just initialize our list here. Let's put an assignment operator and let's say new. And in order to initialize our list, we must use array list because we cannot create an object directly from an interface. Semicolon. Okay, so now we need to scroll down here. Inside this unbind view holder, I'm gonna refer to our list or string values. And notice that we have this position from this unbind view holder. So I'm gonna say dot get the value of this position or index. So when we pass this position or index to this get method, it's gonna give us the specific value related to that index or position inside our list. And it's gonna specify the text of our txt name by this value. Okay. Now we need to implement the get item count. So the get item count is going to be the number of elements that we want to use inside our recycler view. So we already have the list or the string values. So I'm gonna refer to our string values dot size, for example. That's it. And another method that we want to create inside this class is a method that we are going to use in order to add an object to our list. So let's say private void, and let's name it as add string to list. And let's put a pair of parentheses. Let's specify a parameter of type string. So let's say the name is value. And then we need to refer to our array list or list, which is going to be string values dot add. And I'm gonna just pass the value here, semicolon. So after adding a value to the list, we need to let the recycler view know that something has changed. So the method that we need to use here is going to be notify item inserted. Notify item inserted. And the reason that we are using this method here is that because when we update our list, when we add an object to the list, the recycler view should know that something is changed. A data is added to the list, or for example, a data is deleted. And then the recycler view can go ahead and update itself. But if we don't use this method, the notify item inserted method, then we won't be able to update our recycler view and nothing will be shown to the user because the user will not be able to get the updated data. So that's why it's very important to use the notify item inserted. And this method is simply just a method inside our recycler view. So let me go to the documentation of this method, hold down the control or command key and then click on it. So here you can see a documentation about this method. Notice that this method has a parameter of type position. And here, let me show you. It says notify any registered observers that the item reflected at position has been newly inserted. The item previously at position is now at position new. This is a structural change event. Representations of other existing items in the dataset are still considered up to date and will not be rebound. So it's a very great advantage of using RecyclerView, because all the other items will not get updated. They are already up to date, and it will just update the newly added data. So now let's go ahead and add the specific argument to this method. So we need to refer to our string values. This is our list, and I'm going to refer to its size, because you know that this notify item inserted method needs a value of type integer, and we need to pass the position of the item that is added to our list. So because in programming we start from number 0, we count from number 0, the size method, for example, if we have 10 items inside our list, then because we start from number 0, then the last item will be at index number 9. The size method will give us the size or the length of our list. So for example, if our list has 10 items, that will return the number 10 as the size. But here we need to pass the position or the index of the item that is added to the list so that we can update our list view. That's why we need to put -1. For example, if I have 10 items inside my list, so the size method will return the number 10, okay? So now here, this method notify item inserted needs to have the index of the object that is added or that is going to be added to the list, or recycler view. So that's why we need to pass number 10 -1 so that the newly added item will be put as the index number 9 of our recycler view. So let me tell you another way. The notify item inserted method is going to insert an item into our recycler view that it gets from the list or array list. We want to put the item as the last item of our recycler view. So here we need to pass the index of the last item. So if the size of this list or array list is 10, then we need to use the number 9. We need to subtract one value from it and specify the last index of our recycler view. And we want to put that item at the last index, because in programming we start from number 0, because the list or array list is 0 indexed and it starts from 0. That's why we need to subtract one value from our array list, and then we can specify the position of the item to be inserted into our recycler view. Now let's go back to our main activity class, and here let's use the custom adapter and let's populate our recycler view with the data that we get or that we specify to be shown on our recycler view. But this time we are going to use reactive code in order to populate our recycler view. So first, let's have a reference to our recycler view inside our main activity class. Just type in here @bind view and then r.id. Just type in here recycler view or refer to the ID of the recycler view, and then type in here recycler view, semicolon. Now I am going to specify some other parameters. So now we need to have two other variables. Next, we need to have a variable of type linear layout manager. So private linear layout manager. and the name is Linear Layout Manager. And next one is the adapter. So private, and it is going to be my, and we need to have a reference to our adapter. So it is going to be RV custom adapter. So let's name it as RV custom adapter, semicolon. Now let's go inside our onCreate method and initialize our variables. First of all, we need to initialize the linear layout manager, assignment operator, new linear layout manager, this, semicolon. Next, we need to go ahead and initialize our adapter. So I'm gonna say RV custom adapter. Make sure that you are referring to this variable name, assignment operator, new RV custom adapter, semicolon. So let me show you observable. And here you can see that I am referring to this observable of the io.reactiveX. And then I'm gonna specify the data source. So it is going to be .just. So here 2 quotes. First, I'm going to just type in here my name, comma, and I'm gonna put some data here. For example, different names, or if you want to use different name of the computers or mobile phones, I'm gonna use real names here. So now I'm gonna say .subscribe. So now that we have the data source, we need to listen to this emitted data. So now we are going to use subscribe, and inside the parenthesis of the subscribe, we need to write new consumer, and here we have the accept method. Okay, so when you say new consumer, it is going to implement this accept method for you. So let me put a semicolon at the end of this parenthesis. Inside the accept method, we just need to refer to this adapter or RV custom adapter, and we are going to refer to this add method that we created inside that class. So if you go to this RV custom adapter, here you can see that it should be public instead of private. So let's change the access modifier to public so we can access it from the main activity class. RV custom adapter dot add string to list, and then I am going to pass the value s to this add string to list method. Now we can just go ahead and run our application. So now it is going to populate our recycler view with the data that we put here as the parameters of our just method. So let me show you. So there is no data here. This means that we forgot to set the adapter of our recycler view. So here, after initializing the adapter, RecyclerView dot set layout manager, and here we just need to refer to our linear layout manager that we created above, and we also need to set the adapter. So RecyclerView dot set adapter, and then we can refer to our adapter, RV custom adapter. Let's go ahead and run our application. So our application is crashed. Let's go to the logcat and let's see what is wrong. So let me show you the code. Let me change the filter to error, and let's see what we have here. Okay, here are the codes that will help us to find the bug. So first it says that didn't find class androidx.cardview.widget.cardview on this path inside our Gradle file. So this means that the CardView AndroidX is not added to our project. We need to add the dependency code. So let's go back to Android Studio, and then let's go into our build.gradle file. So here we already added these codes here for example, RX binding, border knife, and RX Java. Now we need to add the recycler view here. So open your web browser and then search for Android X RecyclerView Gradle. When you enter this URL, you will be guided to this page, and it says migrating to Android X. This is very important. If you want to, you can use this URL, developer.android.com/jetpack/androidx/migrate. Let's click on this link. And here, first we need to find out the RecyclerView of the Android X library. I'm gonna use the search functionality of my web browser, and I'm going to search for RecyclerView. Okay, so here on the left column, we have the RecyclerView of the Android support library. On the right column, we have Android X.RecyclerView, RecyclerView selection. So here we want to use this one, this code, Android X RecyclerView, RecyclerView 1.0.0. The version that you might be seeing might be the updated version. So make sure that you use the updated version. But I'm going to use this one, and I'm going to copy it. Let's go to Android Studio, and let's paste this code inside the dependencies block. So first we need to say implementation, and then we need to put this code inside the quotes or single quotes. Okay. Now we need to find out the CardView. So I'm going to search for CardView, and I'm going to just find the Android X CardView. So here you can see that after searching, here it is the version that we are looking for. You can see on the left column, com.android.support CardView-v7. And here on the right column, we have Android X.CardView, CardView 1.0.0. So let's go ahead and just copy this code. Let's go back to Android Studio. And then again, we need to say implement or implementation, single quotes, and paste this code here. Now we need to just sync the project. After the syncing process is finished, let's go ahead and run our application. So here you can see that it is only showing, you can see that the CardView is taking the entire screen, and I can scroll and see other names. So let's go ahead and solve the problem with our CardView. And here we have the CardView itself. So let's change the height of our CardView to wrap content. Now let's go ahead and run our application. Okay, so now you can see the names. Here are the names, and we are showing these data on our RecyclerView reactive way. We are actually referring to our observable, the data source, and then we are going to specify the data, these names. So when these data are emitted, we are going to listen to these data by using the subscribe method, and we are going to consume the given data. So inside the accept method, we can go ahead and just let the adapter know that we have this data, so we can update it. And here it is, the data. So here you can see that we have the benefits of Android X I searched for. And it says the new Android extension library, Android X, is a replacement for the 7-year-old support library, aiming to streamline things and provide a solid foundation for the further evolution of the library. So the Android X is the updated version, and developers from now on should use this library. And if you are still using the older libraries, that's okay. But here I just wanted to let you know that Android has changed some of its components. So hopefully that makes sense. And finally, it's time that you do some action. It's time that you just act upon the things that you have learned in this video. Go ahead and just get 10 celebrities' names and then populate your RecyclerView using the celebrities' names reactive way. This is what you are going to do now. So in the next tutorial, we're going to go ahead and populate our list view or RecyclerView reactive way using the entries instead of the simple string values. Thanks very much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.